Michael, first of all, we're going to look back at the Under-20 Hurling Championship. Victory has gone to Offaly over Tipperary.
It sure has, Stevie. Disappointing night for Tipperary down in Nolan Park on Saturday evening. There, nearly 26,000 people at the match. A great occasion, but unfortunately, Tip came out on the wrong side of a 6-point defeat. Started fairly well. Got a goal from a penalty after Offaly had gone two points up. Darren McCarthy fouled and scored himself, and then was fouled, and we had 1-1 on the board fairly quickly. Went 1-3 to 3 ahead, but after that it was all Offaly for the final 15 minutes of the half. I think Tip were outscored 9 points to 2, and that probably was ultimately their undoing. The Offaly half back line really got on top in that we'll say second period, especially Brecon Kavanagh there at centre back. I thought he had a great finish to that half, brought out ball time and time again. But
an extra forward, really, Michael, wasn't he?
Sorry?
He was like an extra forward.
He was bombing forward. Yeah, Tip were working hard, but were chasing shadows in that 15 minutes, and never really got to grips of it. But went in at half time, only 4 down. There was a slight breeze that was favouring Offaly in that first half. So I suppose it wasn't an insurmountable deficit. Got a point or two quickly after the restart. And then a 3-minute spell there around between the 44 and 47 minute. There was 3 goals scored. Offaly got the first one, a long ball into the square from Shane Rigney, and I don't know whether Barry Egan got a touch on it, but it ended up in the back of the net. Maybe a bit of miscommunication between the goalkeeper and the full back line, but straight away from the puck out, Senan Butler got in behind the Offaly defence, and we were equalled up that score. But only 2 minutes later, another ball in the Tip full back line. One of our players, I think Adam Daly, went to rise it, but he was dispossessed, and the ball ended up in the back of the net. After that, Offaly stretched the lead out to 6 at one stage, but Tip scored 3 in a row to bring it back to 3 points with 3 minutes to go. And for the next 5 minutes, the two teams really went at it, but Offaly, they showed real guts and determination, and there was no shot on the goal, and then scored 2 points to 2 or 3 points, finishing up to round out 6-point winners. I would say Offaly were deserving winners on the day. Were probably the better team over the 60 minutes, and fully deserving of their first under-20 title, and now they have an All-Ireland title in every grade at football and hurling, which is a serious achievement.
Yeah, minor, under-21 and senior football, John, along with minor, senior, and now the under-20 hurling.
Yeah, they have, and I suppose it's not more than what that bunch of players in Offaly deserved. Like, they were beaten 2 years ago in the minor final by a late goal by Tip. Beaten last year, a good few would have been beaten last year in the under-20 final by Cork. And I suppose, as Mike said, they were definitely on the day, they were the better team. From that perspective, mind being beaten if you're second best on the day. And I think really the writing was on the wall at half time. The way they finished that second quarter for Offaly, when I think it was 9 points to 2, outscored Tip. There was a brief early on, 2 quick points after the restart, but then 3 points on the trot for Offaly, and then the goals really killed it in the second half there. There's no any chance Tip had at all. Like the first one, I think I don't think the Egan, the full forward, got a touch. I think it went directly to the back of the net. Second one, Dan Burke there got it. A good shot from far out there now, and I think that Burke fella done an awful lot of damage.
He was instrumental in that victory.
He was a goal and 3 points there from play. He has speed to burn as well, and he every chance he got in the first half, he ran at the defence, and that was the feature of Offaly. They were running straight at the defence, and they were drawing the frees, which young Screeney converted. And look, I suppose when it all boils down, at the end of the day, they were the deserving winners. Now there is a possibility that these two teams could meet again, because I think Tip have about 12 or 13 of the starting young enough for next year, and next year will be a repeat of the 2022 minor final. But there's no guarantees.
But it never guarantee you that
You can never guarantee that both of them will make it through. There's no guarantee that Tip will get out of Munster next year. There is no guarantee that Offaly will get out of Leinster. So that's the way it is. Offaly took their chance. The only thing I can see about the Offaly lads, there's a lot of them there, and I think they'll take an awful lot of bulking out to do if they are. If for example...
Yeah, physically, I don't think that they're strong enough really to compete at senior level anyhow yet.
No, they're not. And, you know, if they happen to win the Joe McDonagh on Saturday, they will be up in Leinster next year in senior. And I think, you know, some of them lads would be destroyed at senior hurling, they'd be ate up, like, you know, and that's it. Like, you're probably talking a few years down the line or something, and there's only a couple of them few of them going to make it, because if Offaly thinks that this is going to solve all their problems at the moment and bring them back up to winning senior All-Irelands, I don't think that's not going to happen. You know, it's going to be a slow process, the same as other counties, a slow process to get up there.
Okay, we're going to now concentrate on the Munster Senior Hurling Championship final. It's on this coming Sunday afternoon over in Thurles. It's Clare and Limerick. The big question is, who is it going to be? Let's preview the game now. Yeah,
look at Limerick and Clare, their third year in the trot, meeting at this stage of the Munster Championship. What was it, a point last year or whatever, and extra time the year before. So there's nothing between them when it comes down to it. But Limerick has got that, you know, Limerick on both occasions came away with the silverware, going for an unprecedented 6 in a row in Munster this year. You know, to try and the great Cork teams there before done it. It's a hard thing to do, and I think it's 26 years since Clare won a Munster Championship. It's very hard to actually credit that, because, you know, a county like Clare, look at all the good hurlers they had. Like, it just shows you.
Yeah, it was 97 was the last one.
98. How hard it is. You know, nobody. You know, you don't go into a sweet shop and buy Munster Championships. It's just so hard, and I suppose Limerick, you know, came good there in whenever it was there, 2018, when they made the breakthrough, and they have controlled Munster since that. Now they might slip up now and then and be cut for a draw or cut maybe in the round robin, but when it came to the silverware, and I don't think in that time since Kiley took over, any game that there was silverware on offer, I think they invariably took it.
I think you've 13
whatever between league,
titles,
any league final, any Munster final, any All Ireland that have been in, they've took the silverware. Now, I thought at the start,
depending on the team that's going to be named.
Yeah, but look, it doesn't matter. I think what team we know that Flanagan is out. We know that Dara Donovan is out.
Well, you see, with Flanagan, some will say he will be out, but then I still don't know, because he walked off fairly okay. He wasn't stretchered off or anything like that, so we just don't know what the severity of the injury is.
Yeah, all the indications are that he will be, put it that way, but then his replacement the last day came into the scene, and that's what Limerick have been doing. Now, I think from midfield up, you know, they have the replacement. The one worry I would have would be in the Limerick full back line. And this year they seem to have, that's the worry in place. Now they've had a couple of injuries there to key players in around that. But it's, you know, and they're going to be up against, O'Donnell is going well there for Clare this year, you know. I think the last day he only got a point against Tip, but he caused all sorts of problems. And he caused havoc there with his running and his laying off and setting up scores. McCarthy, Reedy, Rogers, you know, you could just go on and go on and go on, like the centre field pairing, Conlon at centre back, you know. So look at, I suppose you can only go on the forum, and when the chips were down or when the pressure was on Limerick, they came out last year in their last final round robin game. They done it. They came out this year in the final round robin game and they done it. And you know, they wanted to get in. They didn't want to finish up in third place. They wanted to get into a Munster final, and
they're in it
when they're in it, they want to win it.
Michael, the Limerick full back line, they have to be on their toes, because, as John just said there, I mentioned one in particular, Shane O'Donnell. What a hurler!
Yeah, certainly is. I think he's in hurler of the year form this year. I haven't seen him play as well. He's been devastatingly good in all their games, especially and we saw him up close and personal, I suppose, inside in Thurles when Clare didn't have a great performance, but he was certainly the standout player in a saffron and blue jersey there last 2 weeks ago. Whether it didn't matter whether it came into him high, low, along the ground anyway, he was able to win it and lay it off, as John said, and he laid off a great ball, won a great ball into his face, grabbed it and gave it off to Tony Kelly for Tony Kelly's score from play there just after coming in. But yeah, I think Shane O'Donnell is a fabulous player. I agree with John. The Limerick full back line is, well, I suppose it's not the first time we've said it, but they're probably missing three all-stars in that full back line in Mike Casey, Sean Finn and Richie English. And when you start going down in the depth chart, it's probably young O'Connor there that'll come in at corner back if Mike Casey doesn't make it. So that'll be interesting. There should be 40,000 odd in Thurles, and that'll be an interesting place for him on Sunday afternoon.
And of course, Darragh O'Donovan is still out with again a serious calf muscle injury. We just don't know when he'll be back, but he is a massive loss. He's nearly the loss of 3.
Yeah, I think he is an awful loss, and especially there in the last 2 games against Cork and Waterford, the opposition really went after the Limerick half-back line, and I think the work that O'Donovan does kind of helping out Hannon and Burns is understated, and it's probably something you don't really see. He's maybe O'Donovan isn't the flashiest of hurlers, but he picks up a lot of breaks. He gives off ball and he gives cover, fills space, and I think he is a huge loss to Limerick this year.
John, the Limerick forwards supply the ammunition and they'll pull the trigger.
They will, and there's, you might hold one of them scoreless, but it's very hard, to keep them down. If they get into the rhythm at all there, the scores will come. I suppose one noticeable thing this year, Limerick haven't been as accurate as in other years, but then they came out the last day, they scored 30 points and drove 18 wides or something. That's 48 times in 75 minutes to go over the opposition in line, and that takes some down, and 30 points is good. Like, you can just imagine the talk that would be if the 18 wides, if only half of them went wide. You'd be, you know what I mean? But I thought this year that they're not as accurate as heretofore. But look at Gillane can pop up and get sneak an old goal every now and then. They didn't get a goal the last day, but they got him, I think, on the days when they wanted them, and they're capable of getting the goals. But since this Limerick team came into being, they're quite happy to keep taking over the points. 27 points another day, 25, 26.
But the last day, in the end, they didn't need the goal.
No, in the end they didn't need the goals the last day. But I think if they do need them, they're able to work an old goal, and where will the goal come from? And every one of them are capable of none more than Gillane if it's needed. Young English, I think is a real revelation this year, and I thought, I think I even said it before the opening game, would he be up to the rigours of the Munster Senior Championship? And by God, he certainly answered me anyway. The way the minute he came onto the scene there, I think was in the first 4 touches, 4 points, and he definitely signalled he's in
pedigree now, to be honest.
He has, but look at the O'Neill as well. You could just when they have a man down, it's the problem when you have a few lads out injured is you have the replacements to start, but then you have to go down into the pack for the replacements to bring on, and you can only,
especially midway through the second half.
Yeah, you can only go so far, because every county has probably 18, 19, 20 players, but it's when next thing all of a sudden there's 3 of your first choice maybe gone. But Limerick keep answering the critics, and I can't see any reason why they won't keep answering them on Sunday.
And the one thing, Mike, as well, is when John Kiley picks the team, he picks it, and that's it. That's your team to start on. So there's no thinking with the team.
Yeah, very, very rarely. I think there against Tip, he had picked Flanagan all right, and Peter Casey came in for him. We weren't sure whether Casey was going to start that day, but yeah, Kiley likes to keep them on their toes as well. I mean, I was surprised when it was Shane O'Brien that was called on when Flanagan went off after 20 minutes against Waterford, but he came up with the goods and scored 3 points from play. Whereas Donncha O'Donnell had been doing the damage earlier in the time, and he was the one that was called on. And I think O'Donnell only got 2 minutes at the end of the game. You know, when
it just goes to show John Kiley had great confidence in that guy.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, and the guys are responding to him, and I suppose that's easy in a winning team too, Stevie. You know, they're all full of confidence. But to be honest, I don't think either of the two teams have played up to scratch during the Munster campaign. They've gone from being very good to being very average. I mean, Clare the last day will need a marked improvement on that performance in the Munster final. I think Limerick have answered the questions when they were asked of them, but for 55 minutes against Clare, they looked average. For the first 20 minutes against Tip, they looked average. Now they rose to the occasion down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh when Cork put it up to them and put 60 minutes together. But at the same time, they were behind by 8 at one stage in that game, but came back to go ahead by 4. So I think both teams will probably need improvement, but at the same time, Limerick are getting the results just when they need them.
Yeah, it's very hard to know about where John Kiley is going to approach this game.
Well, I think I'd say it is easy enough, Stevie. He wants to win it, and that's it. He wants to put another nail in Clare. But
a good start is crucial against Clare.
100% it is. Like, Clare do look to be the biggest pretenders to their crown, but at the same time, look, Limerick will want to win it. As John said, Cork did 5 Munsters in a row twice and couldn't get the 6th one. So this will be a little bit of history, another bit of history for Limerick if they can get 6 in a row in Munster. At the same time, while Clare, I suppose, want to be in a Munster final and win it, I don't know that they want to be in a Munster final and lose it again for the 3rd year in a row, because it hasn't really helped them going into the All-Ireland series coming off a loss.
And there's another possibility that they could meet further down the championship.
Yeah, well, I suppose that would be an All-Ireland final at this stage.
You wouldn't rule that out, but it's too early to say at the moment. But
yeah, well, I suppose we thought that again the last 2 years, and Clare came up short against Kilkenny both years in Croke Park. But
they did again a small bit of a dip in form, wasn't there?
There was after, I suppose, they put so much into trying to win Munster, and then it's going down afterwards. Then for the All-Ireland series, probably when you don't win it. But I do think Clare getting the league final win over Kilkenny is a little bit of a monkey off their back in that regard. But look, they're not thinking about Kilkenny. They want to win a Munster title. As you said at the start, 1998 is too long a time for a Clare team not to have won a Munster final.
Michael, who do you think will be champions on this coming Sunday evening?
I suppose I think Limerick look like the team that will win it. When, as I said there, when the pressure is put on, I think they answer. I think Kyle Hayes is showing serious form at wing back. He got 3 points in the first half there against Waterford. Garrod Hegarty is doing great stuff for.
He's just coming into form now, isn't he?
And in the first half, he seems to drift back into his own half back line, does an awful lot of work, and then all of a sudden you find him inside in the full forward line, full forward or corner forward, and defences don't know what to do with him. And I think he could make a big difference there. I'm not sure Conor Cleary would like to see Garrod Hegarty coming in on him there when he's 50 minutes of hurling done on whoever, whether it's Flanagan or Shane O'Brien or Gillan or whoever happens to be on.
John?
Yeah, I think, this Clare team, I think they have lost a small little bit of the bite that they had, they're just not able to put away teams. The ruthlessness, I suppose, the ruthless streak that they have. I think they're lacking that, and that could be the difference between the sides on Sunday. Because I think despite what we said about those Clare guys and Shane O'Donnell and Duggan and Rogers and them, I think Limerick, if Limerick start firing on all cylinders there, they will be terribly, terribly hard to beat. And, you know, we know their history in finals of you know, Munster League and All Ireland. We know the history since Kylie took over, and they go into a final to win. You know, there's that in the front door all the time, Stevie.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Well, all will be revealed on this coming Sunday evening over in Tullis. Is it going to be Clare? Who knows? Is it going to be Limerick? Maybe a lot of people are saying yes. But however, the two lads here, John O'Shea and Michael McCarthy, coming to us here from the village of Cappa White, Shenrine Hannah Centra in the background. We'll talk to you soon.